will be some journal prompts. 9 journal prompts to assist you in doing this shadow work. The easiest thing to do shadow work is by learning to write the first thing that comes to your mind in reference to the prompts given. Because if you think about it, it's just going to be a thought. You could think, drop down and get your eagle on, and then your next thought is, I wasn't raised like that, so I'm going to rise up and get my, I'm going to just raise up and walk away. I ain't going to do none of this stuff. See, my first thought was drop down, get my eagle on, and then I remembered that my mama not gonna like that. So I'm not about to drop down and do nothing. I'm gonna drop down and get my prayer on, hood. I'm gonna drop down to my knees and pray to Jesus. No eagle on today. So once again, keep an open mind and understand what you put in is what you expect to get out. And ultimately, if you have any questions after this, we will open up the floor to question and answers, but my goal from this point is to assist you in doing shadow work. So let's get to these prompts. Prompt number 1. I am a bad person. Now, in the workbook is more of a detailed outlook on everything that's being said. We're just going to touch on the surface understandings of these prompts, but these prompts are to assist you in clearing your negative vibration. This is the first one, right? The first question that we ask. Okay. Name some bad people. The answer to that question was only one answer that people had, and some people said it, some people didn't. Some people really think that bad people exist out here in the world without identifying themselves as a bad person. No, hood, I'm a great person. I'm a good person. And I'm not disagreeing with you. But I'm saying in the space of understanding to do shadow work, the first step is understanding how you look at yourself as a bad person. And it could be something that somebody else said to you that you internalized, but you keep it up. Your mom could have said, you ain't gonna never be nothing, right? And I know for a fact that things that people said to me a long time ago, they have a funny way of creeping back up into my mind when I'm triggered. And boy, oh boy, if you start to think about things that people said that don't feel so good and you just in that feeling and vibration, it will hold you back and it'll set you back. And there'll be some shit that happened when you was 16. Your partner thinking that they done did something or said something. You ain't done nothing or said nothing. I'm tapped back into my old life, right? And if I don't clear the times where I told myself that I was a bad person, then essentially I keep this.
It's all good. I've been in that space.
I keep that energy going of that I'm a bad person. So why am I journaling this? To clear the times that I tell myself that I'm a bad person. And for some people, this list may be longer than others. But I know for a fact that you have times where you tell yourself that you're a bad person and times that you feel like you're a bad person. If you don't clear this energy up, when we get to the next level of prompts, you will never get to the place of clarity of seeing yourself as a true person. Because when it's like in the realms of being worthy, those subconscious, unconscious times where you're telling yourself you a bad person, that's your self-sabotage. And it could be anything. You could be signing up for a course and you could just have this energy floating in and you just don't finish the course. Because it's levels of undeservedness, it's levels of unworthiness that goes along with you going through this process. Because I'm not saying something that you don't tell yourself already in ways that you probably don't even understand. So working through this, clearing yourself will ultimately lead you to step 2. My mom was not perfect. It's easy for us to, down dad or even give dad the benefit of the doubt. But ultimately, when it comes to mom, she was an angel. And if we are mothers, we view ourselves as, just perfect beings that could never do no wrong. But there's a particular shadow point to this in reference to our mom that we then treat other people based upon our projection of our perfect mom. But because our mom wasn't perfect, our projection on people isn't perfect either. And it's real nasty. Our mom was great, and our mom was wonderful for the facts of the things that she did for us to be who we are today. But never was she perfect. And never do people deserve to be on pedestals, no matter what they do, because ultimately they were doing something for them, not specifically for you. To which, if you constantly live in the realm of the things that your mother did for you, what are you doing for yourself? Now, once again, the journal is more in depth, and I'm going to make this conversation here. I want to give you something to look forward to and something to read into. But definitely this is something that we can talk about, because in reference to the shadow work, we have to understand that everything is projection. And so in reference to our relationship to our mom, it is completely unfair. We need our mom to be perfect. And if she's not perfect, we present a scenario or idea within our mom in our mind to make her perfect. And if she clearly wasn't perfect, then we can't handle it. Now, a lot of people, not a lot, some people will say, I wasn't raised by my mom. Who is your maternal guardian figure? Because that's more or less what we're talking about. The person that assumed the role as your maternal guardian figure. And ultimately, as children, we projected on what the perfect mother should be. And every negative feeling that we have towards that person being our mom is a result of our projection. Unless you were fair with your mom and allowed her time to tap into herself and said, you know what, mom, you don't got to feed me today. I know you feed me every day. You got a day off. I'm going to go out here and get it how I live. I'm going to hit the block, sell a couple 20 bags or something. I'll figure it out. Don't worry about it. No, we needed our mom to feed us every single day. And if she ever fell short on that, it's easy to hold that energy towards her. But as you become a parent, you will realize how ridiculously hard it is to be a parent, and let alone be a perfect parent. That, you know, my kids be telling me I ain't worth nothing because I don't get them no candy. So, you know, it's even worse for the mom. So definitely something to work through, something to journal through. Admiration. This exercise will recall you to write down every person that you admire, why you admire them, and what does that say about you? What does that say about your talent? What does that say about something that you need to learn? What does that say about something that you need to get better with? If you watch this with your parents, I think that would be a great thing, but I would have no expectations when it comes to how they would receive it. Because ultimately this was for you, but definitely share this content, share this course with as many people as you think it could possibly help, but don't have no expectations in. Like, I want you to watch something, and however you receive it, you receive it. And if you don't receive it, it wasn't for you to receive, and that's cool. But ultimately, you know, to deal with this admiration, this is going to be the key journal prompt to have you in a space where you now can see what you're going to be in life by who you love, who you like, how do they do it. Then you start to do it in your own way, and I promise you, you will be successful, and you will be satisfied, and you will be fulfilled at your choices. And it will almost seem as that you're a damn psychic in reference to what you need to do for yourself. And people will be like, how did you know to quit your job at the 7-Eleven and take a full-time job at being a studio engineer? How did you know that? Because I was just really tapped into the dude who produced all the Drake songs, and I was just watching him on IG produce these songs, and I was at 7-Eleven, and I was just like, this ain't what I want to do. I do not want to be cleaning this Slurpee machine every day. I need to be at somebody's technical school learning how to engineer. And if you don't like engineering over cleaning Slurpee machines, I'll give you your $23 back, fam. I promise you I would. Positive projection. This is another level of admiration, but this might not be into who you admire, but ultimately how you see the good in things, and ultimately what ways do you see the good in things that probably ain't good at all. Every time you see the good in a person is an indication of your energy that you won't take accountability for. It's a hidden aspect of you. So ultimately, I don't want you to stay in the area. Hood, you said that I was a bad person about 20 minutes ago, Hood. I'm still not over that. And you said my mama wasn't perfect, Hood. So what is we doing here? How am I a bad person and my mama wasn't perfect? I don't know why I signed up for this class. I don't know. You telling me some stuff ain't nobody ever told me before. But ultimately, I'm also saying that you have positive energy that you project. But until you get through this bad energy, you might not see the admiration. Or say, for instance, if you don't clear yourself of being a bad person, and then you saying, I admire Drake so much. Drake is my favorite artist. And I'm like, well, you might be a world famous artist. And you like, who, me? No, not me. I can't be no artist. I ain't no artist. I ain't gonna do no tours or no stuff like that. You crazy. I ain't shit. And it's like, see, that's why you gotta do step one. Because if you get to a point where you're doing this admiration work and this positive projection work, the first thing you're gonna do is say, no, I can't do that. I can't do that. I love Brother Panic, but I don't think I'm gonna be able to put out videos on YouTube because that costs too much money. Well, actually, YouTube videos is free, fam. Sexual shadow. We talked about this a lot extensively in the actual presentation, but ultimately, what I would say in working through your sexual shadow in the workbook, this is the most rewarding experience through this whole experience. Because the sexual energy is high on the planet, but you might be outsourcing it thinking that you got to connect with some stranger on Tinder or Plenty of Fish when your whole enemies is ready to get it on. And it can get it on in your mind, and you can daydream and you fantasize about stuff, but I've challenged you to work through this stuff and begin to unite yourself in the true sexual energy that's within you without the negative karma that comes with hooking up with strangers. Now we've worked through our sexual shadow. We've worked through our positive projection. Now, finally, we ask ourselves who we are. See, all of this time, during this whole point in time, you done signed up for a course, put your name in there and stuff, people thinking they know who they are and stuff. And you say you know who you are without actually doing the shadow work, without clearing yourself of all of these things that you're saying to yourself with the assumption that you know yourself. So once again, journaling and everything that I'm showing you here is going to be a write-up that will explain everything in fuller detail. In combination of what you learned from the course, and it's probably about like 10 pages of information beforehand, will be more than enough of what you need to do this. Because a large percentage of the workbook is you doing the writing. I'm just giving you prompts and understanding. But the journaling is you writing exactly what comes in your mind. And to get to a point of who you are has to be coming from a place of automatic writing. If you're thinking about what you write in and then writing it, you're not writing from an authentic place. You're writing from a contrived place, from a projected place. The pure authentic self is much more random, much more spontaneous, much different from the things that you're trying to protect. Who you are is much more abstract. And to get to a place of who you are, you might just need to sit down and start writing. Don't think, just write. And then if you want to think, stop writing, and then you look over what you're writing. And then you might get into a key of who you are. And the more that you do it, the more that you get to see who you are, where you from, what you stand for, what you believe. See, now yourself is teaching you and guiding you, and now you have a relationship with yourself. So all of the relationships you trying to get with Jermaine and Terrence and Jonathan's rusty self, you can now begin to establish with yourself. See how this works. And nothing changes about you externally. Nothing changes about your relationship except your relationships gets better. Nothing changes with your children except your relationship with your children gets better. Nothing changes with your parents because your relationships gets better. And I know the indication is, guess who needs to read this? No, you need to read this. You need to tap into this. You need to understand this, because when you understand yourself, everything around you gets better. That's the point of it. I accept me for me. Hard thing to accept, because you are hell. There's some dark side to you that you ain't fully seen yet. So this is a larger aspect of dealing with the darker shadow after you done built yourself up. Now you into full integration. Now you into full understanding that, look, as great as I am, as dark as I am, and I'm a whole powerful entity and energy, you might not want to play with me, because the shit that's going to happen to you is not going to happen to me, because I'm fully in tune to my dark side and my light side. And I have a sense of peace, and I have a sense of awareness that is not contrived or relying upon how things work out for me. It's more relying upon what I know about myself. I'm fully in tune and fully tapped into my psychic gifts and my psychic abilities, and it's always been there. The only difference is that I know for which I know. And I use my wife as a springboard still, but at the same time, it's getting to a point where I'm just like, I'm not even going to ask her no more. I'm going to just know, I'm going to just accept it, and I'm going to just move on, because when I'm asking her, you know, this happened and that happened, what you think? Now, do you remember when I told you this? Now look what I found. And she's like, yeah. I'm still trying to validate this psychic experience, but at the same time, yeah, I'm psychic. That's just what it is. I'm gonna carry myself like that. I'm gonna handle myself like that. And if you think that I ain't psychic, that's on you. Once again, I accept me for me. Prompt 8. I am a money magnet. Now, this could be, I'm a Bitcoin magnet. It could be, I'm an Ethereum magnet. It could be, I am a check stub fraud magnet. I don't know, whatever your financial ways to get your growth on, to buy stuff, how you pay your rent, how you pay your mortgage and all of that, you are a magnet to that. This is a different level of attraction. Of course, you tapped into money magnetism and things of that nature, but you was telling yourself, I don't deserve money, but I need money. How do that work? Tell me how that work. I don't deserve money. I'm a bad person, but can you give me some money? I don't accept myself for me, but if I had some money, I accept myself for myself easierly. Easierly ain't even a word, but sometimes I'll be in the space of making. So once again, pretty self-explanatory, but as I stated earlier, each of these prompts have more of a one-page breakdown explaining how to work through them, how to journal, things like that. Finally, shadow integration and transformation. After I've accepted myself for me, I've done this work, I've integrated my shadow, now I'm about to write all of the things and all of the ways my life has changed while I've been doing this. Because if you can't get here and can't write down the transformation, it was all for naught. So as I stated earlier, you signing up for this class is not you doing shadow work by a long shot. I wish I could do the shadow work for you, because if I could do the shadow work for you, I'd have did a $500 class. But since I can't do shadow work for you, I can only charge you but so much. Because if I charge you $500, that's the assumption that by taking this course and somehow doing shadow work and all of the things that have taken place, you have done zero shadow work.